Hello and welcome to another video in my Introduction to Business series. And in this video, the content is going to focus on the management responsibilities associated with operations management, or what we more commonly refer to this in the manufacturing and business world, we just simply call this production. This area of management is usually referred to as operations management. It consists of all the activities that managers engage in to produce those goods and services of the organization. To produce a product or service successfully, a business must perform a number of specific activities. An operations manager is a person who manages the systems that convert the resources into the goods and services that will be delivered to the end customers. Now, when it comes to careers, it's kind of hard to provide information about specific career opportunities in operations management. Some generalizations do apply to in this management area. Understanding the following is essential. Mass production is a manufacturing process that is there to lower the cost that's required to produce a large number of identical or very similar products over a long or extended period of time. Another thing to look at here is with analytical processes. These analytical processes break raw materials into different componental parts that are going to be used in the process. A synthetic process is just the opposite of the analytic one. It combines our raw materials or our components to create that finished product. Today's successful operation managers must be able to do several things. They must be able to motivate and lead people. They need to be the people that are inspiring and creating people to do their best and want to achieve the objectives of the organization. They also need to understand how technology can make a manufacturer much more productive than without it. Our operations managers need to also appreciate the cost control processes that help lower production costs and improve our product quality within our organizations. And then lastly, they need to understand the relationship between the customer, the marketing of the product or service, and the production of that product or service. The purpose of manufacturing is to provide utility to its customers. Utility is the ability of a good or service to satisfy a human need. And there are 4 types of utility that you need to understand, and those include form, place, time, and possession. Operations management focuses primarily on form utility, which is created by converting raw materials, people, finances, and information into finished products. Manufacturing uses a conversion process. The conversion of its resources into products and services can be described in at least 3 ways. The first one is the focus on major resources. And the focus of a conversion process refers to the resource or the resources that comprise the major or most important input. The resources are financial, material, information, and people. Another way is the magnitude of change. The magnitude of a conversion process is the degree to which that resource is physically changed. And the third way is called the number of production processes. A single firm may employ one production process, or it may employ several. In general, larger firms that make a variety of products obviously use multiple production processes. Let's talk about services. The application of the basic principles of operation management to the production of services has coincided with a dramatic growth in the number and diversity of service businesses. The American economy is now characterized as a service economy, one in which more effort is devoted to the production of services than to the production of actual physical goods. And I'm sure if you've used lots of services, whether you've used Shipt to do your shopping for you, Amazon, so that you don't have to go anywhere and select the products, you can all do it from your phone or computer. Maybe you had an issue with glass in your car and it needs replaced, So you contacted a company such as Safelite Auto, and they come and repair the glass for you so that you don't have to take it somewhere, wait, and then go and pick up your vehicle. Lots of services. So the American economy is really great with its service economies that are available to us as consumers. Planning quality services. Now, while service firms are different from manufacturing firms, both types of these businesses must complete many of the same activities in order to be successful in their markets. Service businesses must plan, design, execute, evaluate, improve, and redesign their services in order to provide goods and services that there is a demand for by the customer base. Now, with evaluating the quality of a firm's services, the production of services is very different from the production of manufactured goods in several ways, such as customers are more involved in obtaining the service that they want or that they need. Services are consumed immediately and, unlike manufactured goods, cannot be stored. With services, they are provided when and where you as a customer desire that particular service. Services are usually labor intensive because the human resource is often the most important resource used in the production of the services that you as a consumer are demanding. Now, our services are intangible and therefore more difficult to evaluate based on customer satisfaction. Between the two, service firms listen more carefully to their customers and respond more quickly to the marketing changes than a goods manufacturer. Many service firms also use social media to build relationships with their customer, and this is extremely prevalent here in the 21st century. Now, where do new products and services come from? Well, research and development. Research and development, or better known as R&D, involves a set of activities intended to identify new ideas that have potential to result in goods and services. Today, organizations use three general types of research and development activities. Basic research, well, this consists of activities aimed at uncovering new knowledge without regard for its potential use. Now, applied research consists of activities geared to discovering new knowledge with some potential use. And then the development and implementation are research activities undertaken specifically to put new or existing knowledge to use in the producing of goods and services. Another idea that you could keep in mind is that of product extension and refinement. If a firm sells only one product, when customers no longer need that product or that service, obviously that firm will die if they don't expand or refine their product. To stay in business, that firm must at least find ways to extend or refine the want-satisfying capability of its particular product or service. For most firms and organizations, extension and refinement are expected results of their research. And when they develop and then when they implement different activities, and they result in essentially a new product whose sales make up for the declining sales of the original product that was introduced to begin with. That's why we need to continue to move forward to make sure that our organizations stay in existence as well as stay competitive. Well, you might ask yourself, well, how do managers plan production? Only a few of the many ideas for new products ever reach the actual production stage in an organization. Planning for production involves three different phases: the design planning, the facilities planning, and the operational planning. Let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into these stages. With design planning, this is the development of a plan for converting a product idea into an actual product or service. The major decisions deal with the product line, required production capacity, and the use of technology. Now, with the product line, this is a group of similar products that differ only in relatively minor characteristics. An important issue in deciding on the product line is to balance customer preferences and the production requirements. Each distinct product within that product line must be designed. And when I talk about design, with product design, this is that process of creating a set of specifications from which the product can be produced. I mentioned the word capacity. Capacity is the amount of products or services that an organization can produce in a given period of time. So we need to think about that. As operations managers in an organization and working with the firm's marketing managers, we must determine the required capacity. So when we do this, this is going to determine the size of the production, including even the production facility itself. Because if our facility is built with too much capacity, we are going to have valuable resources that are just laying idle and not being utilized to their potential. If the facility has insufficient capacity, we may need that additional capacity later, so it's going to be much more expensive than when we were at the initial building stage. And the capacity of a service business is the number of customers it can service at one time. Managers must determine the degree to which automation will be used to produce a product or service. There is a trade-off between high initial costs and low operating costs with automation, and low initial costs and high operating costs for that using human labor. A couple of terms that are important here is a labor-intensive technology is a process in which people do most of the work, such as we see a lot in the manufacturing, especially the auto manufacturing. We have a lot of processes that are used where people are doing most of the work. Now, a capital intensive technology is a process in which the machines and the equipment do most of the work, such as in a paint booth where we've programmed the robots, all the specific parts and the durations for which they need to paint in certain areas on a product. Now, besides design planning, we also have facilities planning. Generally, as a business, we will choose to produce a new product in an existing factory as long as it meets two factors. The first one is that the existing factory has enough capacity to handle customer demand for both the established products we already have as well as the creation of new products. And the second is that the cost of refurbishing an existing factory is less than the cost of building a new one. In determining where to locate production facilities, management must consider a number of variables, such as the location of their major customers and suppliers for the manufacturer. Another factor is that the availability and cost of skilled and unskilled labor in the area. We also have to look at the quality of life for employees and management in those proposed locations. Another thing that we have to think about is the cost of the land and the buildings that we're looking to acquire. We also have to think about local and state taxes, environmental regulations, and any type of zoning laws in that area. Another big thing that you got to think about is any type of financial support and subsidies that are going to be offered to you by local and state governments. Now, a couple areas we want to look at here that's part of the facilities planning is that with human resources, because the human resources manager must staff the facility by recruiting managers and employees that possess those appropriate skills for developing training programs for those individuals so that we can bring them up to the skill level we need them. Next area we want to look at is that of the plant layout. The plant layout is just the arrangement of machinery, equipment, and personnel within the production facility. There are generally three general types of plant layouts that are used in organizations. We have the process layout, product layout, and fixed position layout. A process layout is used when different operations are required for creating small batches of different products or working on different parts of a product. The product layout, which is typically just called the assembly line, is used when all the products undergo the same operations in the same sequence. And then the fixed position layout, that's used when a very large product is produced. The product remains stationary while people and machines are moved as needed to complete the final assembly of the product. And then the third type of planning is operational planning. The objective of our operational planning is to decide on the amount of products or services each of our facilities will produce during a specific period of time. There are 4 steps that are required for operational planning. The first step is that of selecting a planning horizon. And what I mean by a planning horizon is this is the time period during which an operational plan will be in effect. A very common planning horizon for production plans is going to be around 1 year. At step 2, this is estimating the market demand. The market demand for a product is the quantity that customers are willing to purchase at the going price. Step 3, we're looking at comparing market demand with capacity. To satisfy that market demand, the estimated market demand is compared with the facility's capacity to satisfy that demand. With this, one of 3 outcomes may result. Demand may exceed capacity, capacity may exceed the demand, and capacity and demand could be equal. Now, if that's the case where market demand and capacity are equal, the facility should be operated at full capacity. If they are not equal, adjustments should be made so that we can provide what's needed. With step 4, this is the adjusting products or services to meet that demand. The biggest reason for changes to a firm's production schedule is changes in the amount of products or services that a company sells to its customer. When market demand exceeds capacity, several options are available, such as the production of products or services may be increased by operating the facility with overtime, using our existing personnel, or if we're not at full capacity working around the clock, then we could start another shift. And then if we're creating new shifts, we're obviously going to have to hire more personnel. Another thing is that a portion of the work can be subcontracted by someone else to complete that work. If the excess demand is likely to be permanent, the firm may just need to expand their facility. Now, when capacity meets the market demand, we also have some options. If our capacity exceeds the market demand, then we're probably going to have to lay off workers because we need to reduce the amount of output until we are in equilibrium again. The facility may be operating on a shorter than normal work week. Instead of working 5 days, we may have to go down to 3 or 4. To adjust to permanently decreased demand, management may shift the excess capacity of the production of other goods and services. The most radical adjustment is obviously to eliminate the excess capacity by selling unused facilities. Generally, you'll see some of these occur during recessions where we have to make adjustments because the demand for the product just isn't there, so we're exceeding the demand. Now, there are 4 important areas of operational control. First one we'll look at is that of purchasing. Purchasing consists of all the activities involved in obtaining all of the required materials, supplies, and parts from other firms. The objective of purchasing is to ensure that the required materials are available when they are needed in the proper amounts at a minimal cost. Purchasing personnel should constantly be on the lookout for new or backup suppliers, even when their needs are being met by the present suppliers, just in case something happens. The choice of suppliers should result from careful analysis of several different factors, such as the price. We need to compare price because this is essential to selecting our supplier. We also have to look at the quality. We need to look at the minimum acceptable quality is usually specified by our product design team, our product engineers, whatever the case is in your organization. Another factor that's critical is that of reliability. Potential suppliers must meet the delivery schedules so that we are not stopping production waiting on our suppliers. We also have to think about credit terms. Determine if that supplier demands immediate payment, extends credit to us, or offers a cash discount or reduction in the price for prompt payment. So if we can pay them quickly, there may be a reduction in price. And another factor we need to think about is the shipping costs. Here, the question of who pays the shipping costs should be answered before any supplier is chosen. Obviously, if you can get your supplier to take care of that cost, then it's going to be less capital that you're spending towards that, and if we can get the cost down, you're going to find out that your suppliers are very competitive with one another because they want your business. So we need to make sure that we're looking at all of those factors. Now let's look at inventory control. Inventory control is the process of managing inventories to minimize your inventory costs, including both holding costs for storage and potential stock out costs, the cost of running out of all of your inventory. One of the most sophisticated methods of inventory control used today is Materials Requirement Planning, or MRP. Materials Requirements Planning is a computerized system that integrates production planning and inventory control. A manager using an MRP system can arrange both order and delivery schedules so that materials, parts, and supplies are arriving when they are needed. A just-in-time inventory system, or JIT, is designed to ensure that materials or supplies arrive at a facility just when they're needed so that storage and the holding costs are going to be minimized. Now let's talk about scheduling. Scheduling is the process of ensuring that materials and other resources are at the right place, you got it, at the right time. Place and time are important to scheduling for two reasons. First of all, the routing of materials is the sequence of workstations that the materials will follow. And secondly, the timing function specifies when the materials will arrive at each station and how long they're going to remain there. And the quality control. Quality control is the process of ensuring that goods and services are produced in accordance with their design specifications. The major objective of quality control is to see that the organization lives up to the standards it has set for itself on quality. U.S. organizations use several different techniques to gather statistical information, which is then used to improve the quality of their products. One of the first steps to improve quality is to make sure that you have employee participation. Successful firms are going to encourage their employees to accept full responsibility for the quality of their individual work. Now, 4 widely used techniques to improve quality of an organization's products are going to be that of benchmarking, continuous improvement, statistical process control, or SPC, and statistical quality control, or SQC. If you go into an organization, you'll probably find one of these, if not several of these, are incorporated in the organization that you're at. Now, here we're going to talk about improving productivity with available technology. And I should first probably define the word productivity here. Productivity is defined as the average level of output per worker per hour. Improving productivity growth is imperative in operations of an organization, especially in our global economy. One way of going to do this is through lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is a concept built on the idea of eliminating all waste from all the activities required to produce your product or service. Benefits of employing lean manufacturing include a reduction in the amount of resources that are going to be required to produce your product or service, more efficient use of the employee time, improved quality, and thus having increased profits. One factor that has helped and will continue to aid in this improvement of productivity growth is that of the use of automation, robotics, and technology, which are all going to allow an organization to lower its overall production costs. So let's take a look at the impact of automation, robotics, and computers on our productivity. Automation is the total or pretty near total use of machines to do all of our work. In this, robotics, this is the use of programmable machines to perform a variety of tasks by manipulating materials and the tools. Now, robots work very quickly, accurately, and steadily as they're programmed. They are especially effective in tedious, repetitive assembly line jobs, as well as in the handling of those hazardous materials. People are quick to point out how computers have changed their everyday lives, but some individuals do not realize the impact that computers have had on the manufacturing process. For most of the U.S. manufacturers, the changeover began with such things as computer manufacturing systems, computer-aided design, or CAD, which is just the use of computers to aid in the development of their products, We also have computer-aided manufacturing, or CAM. This is the use of computers to plan and control the manufacturing processes. And then computer-integrated manufacturing, or CIM. This is where a computer system not only helps to design products, but also controls the machinery that's needed to produce our finished product. The Flexible Manufacturing System, or FMS, combines electronic machines and computer-integrated manufacturing into a single production system. Assembly lines can turn out large numbers of identical products economically, but they require expensive, time-consuming retooling of equipment when the new products are manufactured. Such manufacturing is referred to as continuous process, in which the same products are produced over a long period of time. Now, in contrast, those flexible manufacturing systems are arranged by reprogramming electronic machines so that smaller batches of a variety of products can be made without raising the production costs. With flexible manufacturing, this might actually hear this called intermittent process. This is a manufacturing process in which a firm's manufacturing machines and equipment are changed to produce different products. So we're changing the whole machines, all the equipment, just to switch over to a different product. And with customer-driven production, this is going to be a manufacturing system that's driven by whatever the customer needs or what they want. Most experts agree that because U.S. manufacturers will continue to innovate, workers who have manufacturing jobs will be highly skilled and can work with the automated and computer-assisted manufacturing systems. That is a lot of information that goes into our production of quality goods and services. I hope you found this information helpful and that you continue on with this series and the Introduction to Business. Thank you for following along.